Hello, welcome. Welcome everyone to the Perfect Team World Championship 2 draft, presented by E6 Nerds United. As always with our streams, if you can, you know, am I coming in fine? Since I'm an audio engineer, the joke is I'm not. Loud and clear. Perfect. Okay, so with us tonight is the brainchild behind this idea, which is Aster 31.
Hey everybody, thanks Exto. Yeah, I'm really excited for tonight. I think this is going to be a fun opportunity to make the second Perfect Team World Championship even more fun by making it so that both Dragelfred and Country Clubbers have completely unique teams, and for the most part, we're just going to let conduct the draft, let them do their thing. We'll maybe do a little bit of analysis, although Extra Force and I realized we have no idea whether we know what good strategy is for this format, and I think probably only Dragelfred does, but we're going to have some fun with it and see how things go.
And joining is the defending Perfect Team World Champion, Dragelfred. So let's hear from you.
How's it going? Thanks for hosting. This is an awesome idea. I really appreciate y'all setting it up for us.
So do some background. Like, how long have you played Perfect Team? I guess we already explain to people how you're here, what happened, and how you feel about tonight.
Sure. So I originally played the base game back in OTP 14 and 15, and then I had kids and it became kind of difficult to play, so I put it away. And then there was a week period where everybody in the family had COVID except for me, so I was like, maybe I'll see if there's a new one and download it and check it out. And that's when I discovered Perfect Team, and that was like the last week before 22 came out. So I played 21 for like a week, got into 22, had absolutely no idea what I was doing. And then by the end sort of figured it out and decided to play 23 again with like an actual strategy for, generating PP and, trying to be competitive. And I was fortunate enough that it worked out pretty well. It's been a huge grind this year. It's funny that Aster is hosting this because Aster was the one who put the idea of qualifying for the PTWC in my head. Literally had never even occurred to me until he mentioned it. And I was like, that seems like a cool thing to do. So I'll see if I can make that happen. So that's how I got here. It's been fun, and happy to be here again.
And you got in by the Perfect League wins, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Because the other way would have been through, what is it, the PTMS?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. And then the challenger, Dhornermb. How long have you played? How did you get here? Et cetera, as my notes say.
Yeah, so I actually have a very similar timeline. Funny enough, I was playing back in the day as well, 14, 15. I don't remember exactly which years, but I put the game away as well for a number of years. And then I ended up in the hospital with my wife when our first son decided he wanted to make a very early entrance into the world. And so she went into a labor about 6 weeks early, and we spent a week in the hospital. He was trying to come out, the doctors were trying to come in or trying to keep him in. It got to the point where we just were there for days and days and days, and I had very little to do. So I poked around, found the newest version of OTP, and same thing. This was in January, late January, so I found Perfect Team for the first time, played it for a week or two before 22 came out, and got hooked. And so here I am now, and didn't think that I didn't set a goal to be here tonight. I just wanted to make PTMS, and then somehow ended up winning it, probably accidentally. But here I am. It's been a lot of fun. This game has especially kept me busy through COVID, and just love baseball and love the simulation aspect of it.
Thanks. That's a great story. So when we were coming up for how the draft was going to work, it was very technical, and right now I don't feel very technical. So Dragelfred, can you go over, how what you guys are going to be doing basically?
Yeah, sure. So basically, the goal was to try to make as unique rosters as possible, while also acknowledging that Clubbers won a pretty cool card as a result of playing PTMS, and you know that he should have an opportunity to play that card. So basically, the way that we structured it is that um, no one can draft a card that the other player doesn't have, with two exceptions. The first is you can draft a card the other player doesn't have until someone drafts a card that both of you have. So, because Clubbers has the first pick, if he wants to pick Epirixie, he can. If I pick a shared card with the second pick, then no more picks after. Then all picks after that have to be in common, with one other exception. If the card is valued 98 or below, you can pick it, regardless of whether or not the other person has it. One, we thought it'd be a fun reason to get additional cards that don't usually get play in open formats into the game. And two, it was way too much work to try to deduplicate which cards people have. It was funny. We had this idea before we saw each other's rosters, and then it turns out that we sort of invoked kind of different strategies, with mostly Clubbers having a strategy and me not. He sold most of his like second tier cards so that he could buy top tier cards. And I have all of like the second and third tier cards, but not as many of the top tier cards. So it's going to be really interesting because there's not as much overlap, I think, as we expected, which I think is going to be super fun because we're going to have to reach real deep into the archives to find some things to make a good team tonight. And it's going to be a snake draft, so Clubbers will pick first, and then fourth and fifth, I'll pick second and third, sixth and seventh, so on.
Okay. With that being said, I would like to introduce you all to my amazing, fantastic Draftomatic. That's what I'm going to call it. Actually, I'm going to edit this and add. Hold on. Extra-Forest Draftomatic. There we go. With the first pick, I don't think you have a Jeff Bagwell, but if you do, yeah. What it will be your first pick?
All right, I've really been up until about 24 hours ago. This was a very easy decision for me, and I've been tossing and back and forth all day. And I think I'm gonna, as much as I would like to take Epirixie, I just there's not enough overlap in the remaining cards for me to think that that's a good decision. So I'm actually going to take Ty Cobb with my first pick.
You have found the bug on the first.
You don't have
the one card I don't have in this spreadsheet. So I will just go in and type Ty Cobb.
That is both extremely climactic and extremely anticlimactic for the Draftomatic.
Yeah.
Figured we'd get that out of the way now so that it's only up from here.
Only fanciness after.
Wow, that is so interesting. I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, I thought that was probably going to surprise you. But, I mean, if I was a betting man, and I am, I'd like to think I know who your first two picks are going to be, and they probably wouldn't have gone well with Epa on the mound.
Well, since you mentioned it, who did you think my first two picks are going to be?
Well, not to give you any ideas, but you're pretty smart. So, my thought was you were going to probably take Josh Gibson and Willie Mays.
That was exactly correct. So,
let's see how this works.
Oh, we've got an actual picture of Willie Mays.
We got Willie Mays. And then the draft button works. Amazing.
All right, I'm still going to take Mays and Gibson.
Okay.
I don't blame you. Two good picks.
Clubbers?
All right, so now that you have picked a shared card, unique cards are now off the table.
Correct.
So from here, it's a little more interesting. With my second pick, I am going to take Rogers Hornsby.
I think it's the special edition one, right?
I think both Rogers Hornsby are special edition.
The special
Well, one's
edition one.
The mission edition one.
Mm-hmm.
I assume he means whichever one is worse.
Yeah, right.
So just to clarify, was Cobb a shared card, or did Dragelfred not have a Cobb?
No, I don't have a Cobb.
He didn't.
Okay.
So yeah, that was going to be my only opportunity to take him. It was either then or never.
I gotcha. That's why I wasn't sure that if you'd taken Rixey, was it because if one of Cobb, Gibson, or Mays came back to you, it would be a very different strategy than if Dragelfred had a Cobb. Okay.
Yep.
Good. Okay, so now we're on only shared cards unless they are 98 overall or below for the rest of the draft. And we've got Rogers Hornsby, and then Clubbers, you got one more pick.
So with this pick here, just a moment just to confirm 100%. All right, so I'm going to take Karl Yastrzemski with the next pick.
Okay. And Dragelfred is now on the clock for 2 picks.
We need the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire that like when you had to like phone a friend or 50-50.
All right, I'm gonna take Honus Wagner and Ted Williams.
Good picks. I honestly think that, yeah, I know you had very generous intentions trying to give me my shot at Epirixie, but I think it works out nicely to have the second and third pick, given the card overlap that we have. Let's see here. All right, so I've got the majority of my outfield. You've got Mays. And I'm going to need a third baseman. I think I'll take Alex Rodriguez. Okay. I want the flexibility that he provides. And then I'm going to take Greg Maddux.
Ooh.
The pitching seal has been opened.
Okay, so let's stop. And Astor and I were expert, perfect league champions, multi tiers, and let's just kind of take a look at where Dragelfred and the Aftershocks could be going. And so, Astor, who do you think has the better team right now?
First of all, we're not any of those things you just mentioned, but
we played them on TV, or not even that.
We play them on Twitch. Is that TV-ish?
Yeah, that's.
We'll go with that.
Okay.
So, I think both teams have so far we've got a total of 9 players drafted. It's hard to weigh it because Clubbers has 5 players and Aftershocks has 4, but I think this, draft has gone, pretty close to form. The one pick that I think I might have gone differently was I think Clubber's pick of Yaz. I might have taken Wagner there just because the drop off at shortstop, was pretty high. Whereas if you don't get Yaz, you can take Ted Williams. Because it was unlikely that, if Clippers had taken Honus Wagner, that Aftershocks would have taken Yaz and Ted Williams. You probably would have taken his preference, though, and you would have gotten the other one. But that's a small thing. I mean, A-Rod is, maybe not quite as good of a shortstop as Honus, but is definitely a really strong third baseman. And I think a lot of the, shared third base options are a considerable drop off. Hornsby is a great pick because, there really isn't anybody close at second base. And then, being able to take the first shared pitcher, Maddox, is, pretty much, maybe not a tier by himself, but, definitely one of the very best options. And so, I think that this draft has gone, pretty straightforward, which is not to be, not to be unexpected, given the fact that these are two very good managers who understand the game well. And I like that Clubbers, went against the kind of, convention of taking Rixey, but used the same, benefit of the rules to take Cobb, who, is definitely the best hitter in the game. And, that was his only opportunity. If he didn't take him with the first pick, he correctly guessed that Mays and Gibson were going to be the second and third picks, in which case, his choice was Rixey or Cobb. And I think given the fact that, Mays and Gibson are good, counters to Rixey, being able to take, Cobb and then also to get Maddox is, a pretty good setup. So I think it's pretty close so far, and we'll kind of need to see a little bit more of the picks play out. But so far, I'm impressed by both teams. What do you think?
Well, I'm a little surprised by Maddox. I would have thought Gooden would have been good there, but Maddox is like we're splitting hairs there. I kind of agree with A-Rod being a little bit more versatility for rather than efficiency, but Dragelfred, how out of your top four, who I guess Mays or Gibson must be your favorite, right?
Yep. So it's actually funny, Astor saying that he didn't think I would take Ted and Yaz back to back if he took Honus. That actually was my plan. So I think he did good in splitting them up. Yeah, my top six on my board were Mays, Gibson, Hornsby, Honus, Ted, and Yaz in that order. But I would also keep in mind that Yaz was sixth because I was expecting him to draft Rixey. So I think Yaz probably would have been fifth on my list. So yeah, Honus and Yaz would have been my 4 and 5 as well. So yeah, and I think between Maddox and Cy, I think it's pretty much a fair toss up there. So yeah, no, I think his team is good. I'm reasonably happy with where my team is so far, and we'll see how it goes.
And D. Horner, how about you? How do you feel after seeing what's on the board now and what's left?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of expected it to go this way. I knew the Yaz versus Honus pick was definitely going to be a little controversial. I thought long and hard about taking Honus, but I thought I had enough options for that position that it wasn't totally necessary. I really wish I could have had one of Mays or Gibson. I just didn't see a way to make that work. And I wanted to have Cobb probably in the lineup more. So that's why I went that direction. And then as for, the pitcher that I took first, Maddox, based on the stories, I didn't watch the first stream until more recently, but with all of those walks that happened the first time around, I wanted as much control as possible. And so I decided Gooden was just too risky with his sub 100 control.
Yep. That makes sense. Cool. Back to the draft. So it's Aftershocks, right?
Yep.
Yep. Hmm.
Need the suspensive music. Dun 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 dun.
I think I'm gonna take Rose and Randy Johnson.
Pete Rose.
Good picks.
And then Randy Johnson. Whoops. Legend. He was an Arizona legend? That's not how I remember him. All right, D. Horner, you're up.
Okay. The Randy Johnson pick. He was that was a good one. You took that one from me just now. Now I will take Doc Gooden.
Ooh. I have to remember it's not Doc.
Oh yeah, sorry, Dwight, and then Rube Waddell,
Ooh.
which I was pleased to see that both of us had.
Yeah, that was my first instinct when you said that was I was surprised that that was a shared card.
Yeah, that was one that I bought last week to try to. I was trying to just be the only person in Perfect League running lefties, and he did pretty well, but it wasn't enough.
Draggle.
I've already forgotten who I drafted.
We can take a look.
No, I have a sheet. I'm just trying to remember to actually write them down.
Jeshnet is doing the high tech version of this.
Good old notepad document. Yeah, I'm keeping track in Excel just to.
All right, I'm gonna take Stan Musial and Cy Young.
Cooperstown. Stan the Man.
Oh, I do still have him. Why did I think I sold him? Nice pick.
Peak. Boston Beanators. Kidneys is playing 15-dimensional chess while we're just all playing Sudoku.
Exactly. Yeah, that would have been. I mean, there was already too little overlap to do any strategic sell-offs, or we would be looking at a roster of very little hundreds, I feel like.
True.
Okay. So now we're already kind of having to dig deep here outside of the pitching ranks. All right, so I'm going to take George Brett.
Still playing Brett in Perfect League this year.
I mean, he still hits.
He rakes. He's awesome.
And then let's see here. I'm going to take Walter Johnson. Draggle, you have Walter, don't you?
I do, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
Big train. Who took Jody Reed? Chad, who do you think has the better roster right now? Well, Dragelfred scours through his binder of cards.
Sorry.
No.
Kidneys with the 15-dimensional checkers. Chess? 15-dimensional Sudoku. Now that I have the Draft-O-Matic all set up, I can start using this for perfect drafts. And then pull up the card statistics and see what card is good.
I was
All right.
gonna.
Oh, we're good?
Sorry.
No problem.
I'm gonna take Gagne and Votto.
Ooh.
Mm.
Eric Gagne.
I assume that'll make kidneys happy.
Joey Votto. I played baseball with Joey Votto. It's a tale for another day, though.
Yeah, but the reason I drafted Rose before Votto was because there's a lot of position scarcity at left field and right field. So having him be able to play left field, right field, and first is a huge flexibility advantage for me.
Yeah, that I like the Rose pick for that reason as well. Just given the strategies that you can employ in just a single game setup like this. All right, so I'm gonna take. I don't love these two picks, but I feel like I have to make them now and risk not being. I don't want to have to get screwed later. So I'm gonna take King Kelly,
Ooh.
who, if I'm being honest, to this day is still playable in my eyes.
I was quasi tempted to take King Kelly just to force you into taking some ridiculous catcher, but
Yeah, I was worried that if I waited too much longer on this pick, that I was going to have a completely ridiculous catcher because you don't have Yogi. Yeah, he doesn't have Yogi, and I don't have bench. I don't know if he has bench or not, but
You could have strategically added bench for not that much.
yeah, that's true. I should have thought about that, but I've been saving my money to maybe one day get a Ricky Henderson. We'll see. And then I'm going to take Oscar Charleston.
Steal all the bags.
Okay.
Yeah, he obviously his ability to play center and another outfield position in a pinch is helpful, but also his base running ability could come in handy.
So, Mr. Audit, my understanding is that these are all stock cards that are going to be used, so no training is going to be done. Dishnet can probably confirm, but that's the story I heard.
And Dish has confirmed.
So at first, when this was proposed, I was kind of skeptical about how difficult this. Whoa, that was really loud. I was a little skeptical about how difficult this draft would be, but now I'm like racking my head to trying to think about what where to go.
Yeah, and I didn't take enough time before this to study the shared pool, because it's interesting to realize how many guys that I just kind of had penciled into, that one of the two teams would have, and the best example would be catcher, is I just thought clearly Gibson was the top option by a big margin, but I figured whoever didn't get Gibson could wait a little bit and then take Bench or Yogi. But to have to drop down to King Kelly at the risk of ending up with, I don't even want to know what after that option is. But that might be something at the end to go through and look at, what were the other, kind of shared options at this point, or were you going to have to go down to, I can't even think of a 98 or lower catcher that would even be, remotely playable at this level.
So the other three overlapping catchers we had were Mackey, Fisk, and Kirk. So that's the reason why, even with the change, not picking Rixey, I still felt like I had to pick Gibson, because I felt like either I would have to reach for King Kelly, or I would be stuck with something that I really didn't want.
Yeah, I have very few. I mean, I'm looking at your roster, Dragel, and you've got a decent amount of catchers, but I have very few. I really didn't keep around much of anybody. And Gibson is, I mean, he's a great card. The fact that he plays catcher is a bonus. But yeah, I mean, after Kelly, I was probably dropping down to Kirk, or, I mean, God, Carlton. I don't think I could have stomached picking him. But I mean, is Mackey? No way, right? It would have gotten really ugly if King Kelly was off the board.
My number 3 on my list or number 4 was Gene Tenace, the 82 special editions.
He's a good card. Good card.
It is a good card.
It is.
Wouldn't be too bad in this format, I feel.
Well, the good news is you have room on your roster for other 82 cards later on.
Indeed, I do. All right, I'm ready for my next picks if you are.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to take Mariano Rivera and Nap Lajoie.
Nap is a really good pick this late in the draft.
Kind of feel like Mr. Burns, just picking players.
Well, and especially since Knapp wouldn't have been a bad pick for the Clubbers as a first baseman at this point. I don't know who the other first base options are, but that would have been a good, two-way pick, is that you get a decent player at first and you block, the two best, and then you have the two best second basemen.
Garrett Goldschmidt, Greenberg, and Hanley Ramirez are still on the board for first base.
Okay, so yeah, I don't know that the Knapp would have been the best option of that, but just the benefit of blocking would have been interesting, as we get deeper into the draft.
Yeah, I've always liked Knapp just because he plays first and second. I ran him at first base for a long time. Before I got Dan Brothers, who I've been running since, but I literally just realized that Lou Gehrig is still on the board and we both have him, so I'm going to take Lou Gehrig. I'll consider that a win this late.
Snuck him in.
Fair enough.
That was a nice pick.
Is this another card I don't have? Maybe this is. Yep, this is another card I don't have in my wonderful list of Magic. Lou Gehrig. He's a legend, right?
Yes.
Yes, he is. Okay.
And then your next pick?
Next pick, let's see here. It's already getting tight. Just check one thing. All right. I could see this blowing up in my face or working perfectly, so I'll take Nolan Ryan.
I was just having the same conversation with myself.
It's the 87 or 73? That's the 87. I'm good at this game.
Okay, so Dragelfred, you are up.
I'm going to take Brooks Robinson, blast from the past,
Build a Brooks.
and Pedro Martinez.
Ah,
Oh Lord.
God,
Which one is the? I'm gonna go with 64.
how did I forget Pedro?
Fail. Can someone help me? Which Brooks Robinson is the good one?
It's the loyalty one. I don't know what year
No.
it is.
I only have years. 67? No, it's not the 67 one.
Let me check.
It must be the 68 one.
Well, I promise whatever you put in there, I will enter the correct one in the system before the game tomorrow.
So it's Brooks Robinson and then Pedro, right?
Yep.
I think there's only
Good.
one Pedro card, right?
There's 2 Pedros.
yeah, there's a
There's apparently
special,
3
there's a
Pedros.
tournament. There's 3 Pedros?
Apparently.
I think it's the SE Pedro.
But
No,
they're-
Cooperstown Club, but yeah. Oh,
Pedro's
2 perfects.
interesting,
There's an
one of those
all-star
cards that-
one. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, he's just never seemed to play to his ratings for me for whatever reason, in league anyway. I always want him to do, but who knows? That might mean that he's going to be a absolute god in a 1-game simulation.
Well, I think part of my logic too is that, like, I'm into my 5th pitcher, and I don't actually need 5 pitchers to run a game. So having somebody with a high strikeout rate that you can bring in, like, situationally, I think is more valuable than to me bringing in somebody who I think is more likely to give me a slightly lower FIP over 7 innings.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Best of 162. Aussie 777227. You guys have to live manage 162 games.
Oh, God. You imagine? All in the same night.
Not going to bed until they're all done.
Yeah.
Come on, guys! You have 2 weeks until PT24 is released. That you can keep it going. I'm sure Dish can stream that long.
Yeah, let's do it. I'm down if you're down. All right. I'm going to take Luke Appling.
Underappreciated. Luke Appling.
Yeah, another card that I think has been very playable for a long time, if you don't mind the lack of homers. And then I'm going to take Hank Aaron, who I'm pleased is still around.
Ooh. That card has legs.
Yep, he was my next pick for sure.
So just looking through, Draggle has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pitchers. Clubbers has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pitchers.
Yeah. Both teams have 4 righties and 1 lefty. And it looks like both teams have they may not want to configure it this way, but both have a full starting lineup worth of players as of this point.
Okay, I'm going to take... It's my picks, right?
Yep.
Yep.
I'm going to take Hank Greenberg and Al Simmons.
Ooh. Pow pow. Big bats.
Al Simmons love.
So let's take a break here, and let's go to our resident PT expert, Aster. Here are the 2 teams. Break it
Okay.
down.
Both teams very good.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Anything else or?
I think I think I would have taken Pedro over Nolan Ryan. That would have been maybe the one adjustment I would have made. But other than that, I think the picks have been really spot on. It's a little bit hard not having as good of a feel for the shared card pool as these guys do. But in retrospect, looking at the picks, the only one of the recent picks that stands out to me is that I think I would have had a little bit more comfort level in Pedro out of the bullpen than Nolan. But I don't think it's a huge thing. But in a small sample, especially with what we saw with the first Perfect Team World Series, that Nolan could just walk you out of a key situation. Although to a certain extent, from what we saw in the last situation, any pitcher could walk you out of a key situation. So it might not matter. But yeah, the picks have been really good. I like the last couple picks of Aaron and Greenberg. Both, I think, as situational bats are really strong. Aftershocks took a lot of strong lefty bats early, so to have Greenberg and Simmons is something to balance. We're two smart picks, and I think we're running out of clear meta cards at this point. And so it's going to be fun to see the rest of the way. This is where we start to see specialists, situational players, and going to be really fun to see where the picks go from the rest of the way. Any thoughts on?
I just love this format. I didn't quite appreciate what sort of insanity this is going to bring, but I think this is awesome. So D Horner, you got how many picks left? I think 11. How are you feeling with your team, and do you think you're going to kind of round out the edges with the next 11 picks? Are you worried?
No, I mean, I think that I'm happy with the team. This is definitely, I've got all the positions covered. I'm happy with the pitchers that I have. So I think the teams are very even. And I think this is kind of where the game is going to be won or lost maybe in these last couple of picks is some of the situational type players or maybe, late game subs for one reason or another could be the difference. So I'm happy with the way I kind of expected the early picks to go the way they did. Totally forgot about Pedro Martinez. That one was on me. I should have had a better note on that one. But again, Nolan, his high K rate, I'm willing to live with that. So yeah, overall, I'm happy with the team.
Yeah, I like Nolan. I don't know how the engine works, but I think he'll be fine. Dragelfred, will we be seeing a rabbit pulled out of a hat?
We'll have to find out. I will say on the comment about Nolan Ryan, I had on my board I had Pedro 8 and I had Ryan 9. So I was going Ryan if I didn't go Pedro. I think he plays in the format, especially because you have so many pitchers that if he walks 2 in a row, you can just take him out. So I actually am supportive of that pick. I'm excited to to have gotten through our starting 9 and into the reserves, because I think the reserves are going to be really fun. I think getting a core that's good is a little stressful. You don't want to make any big mistakes, but now it's just sort of fun the rest of the way. So.
And with that being said, I think D Horner, you're up.
Yeah. So this pick, I'm happy that I get to make it this late. I was going to be okay if he wasn't available, but the fact that he is, I think, is nice. So I'm going to take Tris Speaker.
Ooh.
I can tell that's where you're going with that, because I just looked at my board and was like, I'm surprised Tris Speaker's still available.
Yeah, I thought the same thing just now. I was like, well, now is as good a time as any. And then let's see with the check something. So I'm gonna again. This is a potentially risky pick. Maybe I'm overthinking it, but I'm gonna take Fernando Valenzuela. Get another lefty arm in the pen.
He also has reverse splits, right?
Does, I think.
Yep.
Good card. Some good cards. EVC is all about the Fernando Valenzuela pick. Cards. I'm from Canada. The more I say cards, the more I actually think of like it's a tick, and I'm like, oh, I'm saying cards.
If you repeat a word enough times, it starts coming out really weird.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a weird observation, but it's super true. Okay. Well, I was going to take Tris, but since he's gone, I think I'm going to go with Otani and Glavin.
Ooh. Chicks
Nice
dig
pick with Glavin.
the long ball. Wait, do I not have the real Otani? Uh-oh. Well,
Would not like to take the live Otani, to be clear.
I'm gonna click this, but I'll fix it. I'll patch it after. Patch it in production. And then Tom Glavin. I hear. Ooh.
Love the
Is that a
Glavin
legend?
pick.
Chicks dig the long ball.
Glavin was a legend.
Okay.
I'm hoping that you'll be taking the long ball against Glavin since his movement's like 126 with VL, but
Yeah, I like that pick a lot. I just he's so splitty that if he ends up against, I mean, we are following the rules of a 3-batter minimum, so I just
nope.
me a tiny bit.
Super fair.
Just for the official record, it's not live DH Otani. I'm going to just say SPDH because I think that's what the Topps card comes under as, right? SPDH?
I think so.
If nothing else, though, it'll keep you honest from stacking 3 lefties against each other.
Yep. All right, now we're really digging deep here. So I try not to hold us up, but I want to make sure I think this one through for a moment.
We got time. No need to rush.
So I was definitely surprised, and I just reconfirmed that Dragelfred does not have the OG Jackie Robinson.
I do not.
The Negro League one?
Yeah.
I do not. I've been Pop Lloyd all the way.
Yes, I do remember you saying that. Because he's even now, a decent enough card. Provides a little flexibility in a number of different ways. Guess I don't need a backup catcher, so we can scratch that off. All right, I'm gonna take a card that I could wait and do this, but I've just been very excited to take him all night, which is going to be my PTMS reward, Jose Valentin.
Ooh.
First gold cards.
Defense.
Taking a page out of your book, Draggle. Elite second base defense here.
Honestly, I looked at buying him for this event, but I don't know. I couldn't bring myself to do it.
I literally have been wondering for the last 3 days if you were going to do that. Just because I feel like he is right up your alley.
Honestly, if not for my like undying loyalty to Rabbit Marinville, I probably would have like swallowed my pride and paid 300,000 for him. But I decided to let it go. Stick with my guy.
I don't blame you. All right, I've got another pick, don't I? Let's see.
Yep.
And I'm going to take John Smoltz.
Okay.
Don't know if I'll need him, but he's got very interesting splits, that Smoltz card.
Yep.
He was next on my list too. I like that pick. Flash don't like it. um,
Shane Baz, Mr. Audit call out. How is Shane Baz doing? Is he stuck in kind of the Rays?
Isn't he out for the year already?
Bazmataz.
I was doing fantasy baseball prep earlier today, and I feel like I read that and it said, okay, good, another player I don't have to think about.
I just like drinking the Yankees' tears of their IL.
So a live look of Shane Baz, because I probably just made that up.
all right.
We're good.
He's going to start a throwing program in about a month. Okay, sorry.
Nope, no worries. I'm gonna take Pud Galvin and Dave Bancroft.
Ooh. Super Dave Bancroft. Kidney's favorite, Dave Bancroft.
Yeah, he was coming up next. See, that's where I should have taken Dave, last time around. I just couldn't help myself. I had to take Balance, and I had to put that into the universe.
Getting down to the wire.
I like that pick very much, though. I don't think it is a loss there for you.
No, I mean he's a stud. Yeah.
Is Bancroft a switch hitter too?
He is. Yeah, he's a switch hitter, and he's fully trained at third, short, and second.
Yeah. Okay.
With 104 range, so he's. I actually a couple days ago put him at second base on my league team just to see how that goes, and so far it's worked pretty well. All right, I'm going to take Topps Juan Soto. Looks like we both have him.
Yep.
Just in case I want to take 4 straight pitches and see if I can get a walk.
I hope in Perfect Team 24 they got the shimmy going.
I like that Galvin pick. I had been thinking about him for a while. And then I'll take Eckersley.
Uh-oh.
I feel like Eckersley will redeem himself.
It could be. That'd be the storyline that they programmed.
Man, where are all the lefties? I feel like there's no lefties left on this board.
Yeah, the as a somebody who plays, daily fantasy, I've been taught, never to, don't remember the disaster that occurred in the previous night. Just think about the player overall. So that's what I'm going to do with Eck here, and hope that he doesn't burn me.
Oh, I think that approach in general kind of works for like perfect team in general. Like trust the ratings, basically.
Right. Yeah, and honestly, that's but for that reason, that's why I talked myself out of taking EPA. Is that even though the ratings would support consistent performance over a 162 game season, anything can happen in one game. So, get me a guy at the top of the lineup that might get 4 at bats.
I mean, frankly, the strategic value of just throwing me off my game might be worth the few additional points of movement that he has over the other options.
Yeah, that was the other part of it. As all day long, I was telling anybody that would listen is that I'm pretty sure this is going to totally throw off his draft strategy.
It's true. It's a good move. Is it me?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, now we're getting weird. I'm gonna take George Sisler and David Ortiz.
Who? George Sisler.
I like
Now-
Ortiz. I was looking at him as well. You took
Now, there's
George Sisler.
two-
Whoa.
There's 2 Diamond George Sislers. Isn't there like a 94 and a 96?
I think it's. Let me double check.
Did you want the Platinum Series one or the special edition? I picked-
Hold on.
I don't even remember the other George Sisler.
Yeah, it's the special edition.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so the 94.
Yep, that's the one.
Okay.
Wait, I clicked on the wrong one again.
It's funny you say that, Kidneys, because that's what I get accused of every time I draft real fantasy baseball too.
Just pow pow.
He likes first baseman. What are you going to do?
I'm in an online league, and the amount of first base, DH, weak corner outfielders is just, I guess, indicative of real life. The amount of people who can just like hit the ball, and that's their only talent. Amazing talent.
Wow, I really do have a lot of first base.
All right, so is it me? Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
All right, I'm gonna go with one of my tournament darlings, Greg Gagne.
Ooh. Defense up the middle.
I think I actually have 9 first basemen, if I counted correctly.
That's impressive.
You're saying 9 guys that have first base eligibility?
Yes.
And then I'm gonna go with Cedric Mullins.
Interesting.
Now we're getting some fun picks.
I'm guessing the top spunt version, not the live card.
Yes, I would like the Topps version, please.
Sim is in.
Uh-oh, Kidneys might be tipping my hand here.
Let's see. I am 5 games under in Perfect League. I am 4 games out of relegation. We'll see what happens.
Okay. So, Dragelfred, you are on the clock.
Oh, I am. Sorry, I didn't realize
Yeah.
that. I'm going to take Rabbit Marinville,
Oh, rabbit out of the hat.
obviously. And I'm going to take, this one's for Aster, Future Legends, CJ Abrams.
Oh. I tried to convince both of them that they had to take at least 5 Future Legend cards. Thankfully, they decided against that, but I like that we have one on the team. And a Speed Demon. I think if there was one Future Legend card that I would take, this would be the right specialist to do it. Oh, and that one we had in the system? We didn't have Otani, but we had the legend CJ Abrams.
Wow, he really is a speed demon. Holy cow!
I think Greg Jones is also another playable Future Legend as a pinch runner. The 85.
Yeah, I can see that.
Wow. Playing absolutely 16D chess. Dhorner, you're
All right, let's see here.
third and second to last pick.
3 picks left. Got to make them good. I'm going to get Granny on the team as well. I need my all range team. My all gold range team.
Is it the special edition one? I think so, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I just want to see. I forget what. Is this like a silver? I think
No,
it
it's
is,
a
right?
gold 87,
Yeah,
I think.
gold,
Yeah.
No, no, no. The other one is a silver.
Oh yeah, there's like a, and it's not a very good facsimile of the 87.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then
And you got
I'm going to take Platinum Series 4 Devin Williams.
Ooh. All right, Dragelfred. Last 2 picks.
All right. I got to look at more first baseman. Give me a second.
Okay. How many more first basemen can you?
Well, I can
Just-
only pick 2 more, right?
You can stack all the first basemen at first base. That's going to be a feature in Perfect Team 24, in OTP 24. You can combine 2 first basemen, and they'll just grow to 12 feet tall. And their potential at first base is going to go to max. Rob, deer in the headlights, is making a case for Jody Reed. I don't remember.
All right,
Go
I
ahead.
don't think any ridiculous picks that I want to take more than I want a reasonable pick. So I'm going to take Harry Heilman and Max Scherzer.
Ooh. Special edition. The myth, the legend, Harry Hellman. And then
does Harry Hellman have first base eligibility?
Sure
I'm
does.
pretty sure he does.
Okay, we'll allow it.
10 or bust.
And to conclude the inaugural Perfect Team World Championship 2 draft using the patented X-DeForest Draft-O-Matic. Patent pending.
Patent pending. I will take with my final pick.
Drum roll.
One more lefty arm, Carl Hubble.
Hubble. Toil and Trouble.
And the 75 silver version, I assume you mean?
Is it
As I was leaning that way, but I think I'll take the special edition.
the Cooperstown Club?
Yes.
All right. So
Okay.
there we have it. Well, we talked to. Let's talk to Dragelfred. Dragelfred, how do you feel about your draft? How do you feel about it? How it went?
So I'm not gonna lie, I'm happy with the players that I have. I think that if I were not doing a draft, I would have strove for more positional flexibility. And I'm not necessarily sure that I haven't limited myself in terms of being able to make moves with some of the players that I've chosen. So I'll I'll see how this feels tomorrow as I go through and play scenarios in my head. But I think for right now, given the limited draft pool, I feel pretty good about the players that I ended up with. And I did not fail to draft any positions, I don't think, which was the number one thing that I wanted to not do.
Just kind of looking, I guess. Third base is probably the weakest, but I guess Greenberg can play there. Rose can play third base. Holmes can play third base.
But I do have Brooks.
Yeah. But I feel like you're kind of set up for. It's going to be a very active game.
For sure.
And Dhornermb, how do you feel? What went well? What didn't go well?
I think it went as well as it could have gone. I'm again, as Dragelfred mentioned, it was more challenging than I originally thought it was going to be because some people that I thought would have been on the board for sure ended up not being available. But overall, I'm happy. I think I have enough flexibility. I've got some defensive subs late game if I need them. I think I've got enough, different types of arms, some high control guys, some high K guys. I really hope that King Kelly plays well because there's absolutely nobody that can come in for him. So you want to pencil one thing in for tomorrow, it's going to be King Kelly playing the entire game no matter what. But overall, I think, this was a lot of fun. I'm glad that we did this. I think that this is definitely going to make tomorrow more interesting versus us just putting our 26 best players out there. So I had a lot of fun. I think I'm generally happy with the team, and I'm excited to see how it goes.
Yeah, this it was definitely a treat. Thanks for both of you for being willing to jump in on Aster's crazy idea. Speaking about Aster, how do you feel? Who do you think is the favored one here?
Looking at the rosters, I think it's a coin flip. I guess I'd give a little bit of edge to Dragelfred just that he went through this experience of actually doing the managing in the first game. So I would think that would be a decent advantage, just kind of having a better feel for the mechanics. But the rosters are very very comparable, and I really like that both of them were forced to get very creative towards the end and make some fun picks. One thing I'd be curious is if you guys could go through who you thought the top players were that didn't get drafted. Are there very many, shared perfect cards that nobody took?
So I can answer that. So the highest ranking hitters I had that didn't get drafted were Paul Goldschmidt, Nolan Arenado, Trea Turner, Minnie Minoso. So really sort of reaching deep there.
Sure.
And then on I don't think there were any 100s that I had on my list for pitchers that didn't get drafted.
Okay.
Well, this definitely. Yeah. Go ahead, Dhornermb.
No, I was just going to say that those were the names that there's not much left that wasn't picked. I mean, again, if everybody had access to kind of our pool of cards, you really would be surprised at some of the lack of overlap there. So I think that given what was available, we didn't leave much. There wasn't much left.
Sure. One guy that I guess maybe one of you got rid of, John Franco.
Wait
We
a
had
minute.
Franco.
We did both have Franco. Yeah, that's a good. I don't know why I didn't end up taking Franco. Franco would have been a great pick.
I think the only thing I didn't like, I think I liked the. I didn't like that. I already had two relievers, so I didn't want another reliever. I'd rather have the stuff boost from the starters.
Sure.
And I feel like I needed another lefty. But I mean, he was next on my list.
Yeah,
I
no,
mean, he's very reverse splitty too. So I don't know that I'd want to bring him in to face a righty necessarily.
Sure. Yeah, no, and I don't think there's any of the pitchers that you guys did take that I'm like, oh, you definitely should have taken Franco over him. He was just a guy that, like, as I was kind of going through and thinking about who would be somebody that both of you would have, he seemed to be pretty high on the pitching list. So,
Yeah, the last three pitchers on my list were him, Tekulve, and Santos.
okay. Yeah, I think all.
Santos I considered as well. Mm-hmm.
How I see it is that I would say Aftershocks probably has a better platoon advantage. I think just with the amount of hitters and like the CJ Abrams, Heilman, Ortiz, like those are big bats to be able to pinch hit for. But I definitely feel like Clubbers is better defensively. So I feel like we're gonna have whatever the unstoppable force versus the I forget what it is. The
Immovable object.
the immovable object. That's my prediction for tomorrow.
Yeah,
Anybody-
it'll be fun. Thank you guys for hosting. Thank you for the idea, Aster. This was a lot of fun, and happy to be involved and looking forward to tomorrow.
Excellent. Well, thank you guys both, to Dragelfred and Dhornermb for coming out tonight, for subjecting themselves to this interrogation, as it were, and putting your teams out there. You guys both did a really good job, and you both really contributed to making a fun format for you guys to compete in. And I think it'll make for a fun stream tomorrow. So Xforce and I are happy to hand things over to DishNet for tomorrow's festivities, and may the best team win.
Yeah, good luck to both of you. Thanks for coming out. This was great. Thanks for everyone. Draggle.
I was just gonna say thanks, y'all. This was awesome.
Yeah, and thanks for everyone in the chat. And yeah, see y'all tomorrow.